Hello. There's a few things I want to touch on today since I am in the comfort of my own home. I want to mention a few things that actually been trickling my mind. It is actually kind of a recap from the last video that I recorded, and it was talking about things that are going on in our world today in society, and it was on what we're currently dealing with right now, which is the pandemic. But this is a stem from the pandemic, because if we remember last year in 2020, everyone was protesting and rioting was happening and looting was happening. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that because there's a lot of stuff still going on, and everyone is kind of standing up for what they believe in as well as fighting for their rights, and also not just to be heard but to be recognized for who we are as a people, and to just kind of feel like everyone is equal, or we all have a common ground or a common understanding or a common denominator, and that's just respect and acceptance and acknowledgement. And as for myself, I feel strongly about what's been going on, at least in my entire life, being African American. And I just feel like with the whole protest on BLM, I can say that me strongly, just seeing how the constant police brutality, the constant shootings and killings and harassment and all of that, it's just too much. And to be honest, it's just a tough situation to really be in. And I am definitely very, very, very heartfelt for the families that have lost their loved ones that has actually been affected severely by this situation. And yeah, we've been saying that all lives matter. And yeah, I don't want to contest that all lives do not matter. It's just that when we're differentiating the different marches, we're trying to get people to understand that it's not that all lives don't matter, they do. But the thing is that we're trying to get people to see us as human beings, us as a people, us that stand up for what we feel and what we believe, us that stand up for our rights. And yeah, I can say last year in the summer, I did pass by and I did see some of the protests that were going on, and some of them were peaceful, at least the ones that I was around, and even stood up and felt connected to and felt like I had a voice of my own, of yeah, that I'm American, and as you can see, I'm African American, but my life does matter. And we do appreciate the support and love that other people are participating in, sharing their thoughts and opinions and being very supportive. But I just feel like in some ways, some of the points is being overlooked, missed, or a different message. And what I mean by that is that the peaceful protests, I would say, has definitely touched and made some of a positive impact when it's peaceful. But at least I could say for rioting and looting, that's not something that is what we intended or want to get in terms of getting a message across. Even though I understand angry feelings come about, emotions, thoughts, rage, whatever it is. So it's understandable why these things occur. But it's just that I can say my feelings is that when these things happen, is just think about it just for a second, is that yeah, other things are going on and other races are enduring racism, hate crimes, and other situations that are isolating those individually based on their race, their background, their looks, just to name a few, and preferences or whatever it is in terms of their sexuality and whatever. But I'm not touching on those too much because that's just a whole nother area to reach or kind of reach on. But I'm just speaking more for myself and my experiences, and all I'm saying is that it's just a frightful situation to know that you grow up or been born into something you don't have no control over. You don't have no control over who you are, what your skin color is, and you don't have any control on what happened centuries way before you even came on this earth, and don't even have control over what is going on your entire life and what is yet to come in the future, not just for yourself but even generations after you. And all I'm just trying to say is that when we specifically fight for certain equality, especially when it comes to BLM, we're just trying to say of what's going on in terms of hate crimes and all of that. But we just want to understand that what's going on is that it's more than just hate that's going on with our nationality, our race, our people. It's more of just constant discrimination, constant racism, constant inferiority, constant killing and threats, constant humiliation in anything that we do, anything that goes to social media, entertainment, just out in society when you're trying to, just being a decent human being to make a decent living, you're still going through stuff just because of what others have perceived or have a certain perspective of what you are, stereotypes. And I'm not saying that other races is not going through some of these things. It's just that it's unfortunate when you hear another African American is being shot and killed by the police. And it's like, why? Who else? And you can only hope that it's not anyone that's close to you or your loved ones, or even someone, possibly, that or have met, or even hoping that you don't suffer because of who you are, what you are. And I know I had a discussion one time with a coworker a while ago. This was years ago. And it was the start of the BLM union with protesting way years ago when police killings and all was happening. And a coworker said, well, it's interesting that this is happening right now during a time like this where, everyone thinks about themselves and not anyone else. And I'm thinking to myself that no, it's not that no one is not thinking about other people. It's just that you have to understand that if you see one group that's being targeted, of course, that's going to be the center of attention. And that's what I was trying to get through to, or message across to that individual, to understand that it's not that no one wants to be united or whatever, but when you're being in a situation where you're constantly being harassed and looked down on and feeling unequal and all of that to any other person or any other nationality or race, of course you're gonna feel like, well, this is something that we need to do, stand up for what we believe in, what we want to see that change, and what we want to see happen differently than what has been, at least most of our lives, most of my life, is that you don't want to walk around society and other nationalities, they get certain opportunities and things before you do. And you're like, well, I qualify, I'm good, I can do it, why not me? And I just feel like some other people or other races don't seem to understand or see that when there's a huge race of people that's being put in a certain category compared to others, you don't understand unless you're in that same category. And I'm not saying that other nationalities don't go through this. I'm not saying it. All I'm saying is that things are okay when you're not going through the things I have been through, and my own family and friends of the same color has been going through all their entire life. Some nationalities, they haven't gone through being discriminated against, being in a position of racism, seeing it from their families trickling all the way down to them, and possibly their own children going through racism because of what society has been known to do for over 400 years, or I would say at least centuries. And it's just interesting how there's a lot going on now that can make people understand and relate and know what it is to feel real pain of being an individual, and not only individual, but individual who represents you and your own kind. And I can personally say that I wish that things were not like this. I wish things were different. And I remember even growing up and being told stories about how things was, at least here in America, because things were different, the North versus the South. And my background is from the South. So I know a little bit about my history and my family's background, and I'm actually proud to know those things, and that's what makes me proud to be who I am and what I am today. But it's just unfortunate when society just seems to not accept us for who we are, and it's just horrible just to know that. And all we're saying is just hear us, just understand us. It's not the simple fact of just saying that, oh, you know, we're the only ones. That's not what it is. It's just hear us, understand, and try to be a little bit more compassionate, if anything, because it's just that it may be harassment and all that other stuff, and hate and judgment and no acceptance or anything that's going on, because it's current events that's happening around the world as of right now. But it's just that understand that we are all human beings. We're equal. No one is better than no one on this earth. We all breathe the same, talk, we all see, we hear, we have the same abilities. No one is different or better than any, well, different, yes, in regards to, I could say, personalities, looks, I can name a few, but just saying that we're all need to unify, because we're all human beings at the end of the day. We all have feelings, and just as much as you want respect, it gotta come back. It gotta go both ways, not a one-way street. I don't want to walk into a store and I'm being stared at or I'm being followed because of a stereotype. I'm not saying that's what it is, but technically that's what it's been. And yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And I can give examples, but no need for that. Just saying, just hear, understand that I don't know what this year will be like. I'm afraid that there'll be more protests going on. Hopefully won't be too many riots going on or any lootings going on, but more peaceful protests, just to show we need change. We need change, change, change. As the saying goes in historic films, change is going to come. Change is going to come. Oh, yes, it will. Change is going to come.